Hey guys, Sleepy Reader here. I just on my lunch break read Batman Detective Comics 900 or 19, take your pick. Not really the best of the fold-out covers by far, but I'm enjoying these fold-out covers. And this was an $8 book, but it did have 80 pages, or maybe really about 77 pages of story and art. And I have read all but the Bane story. There's a Bane story in here by James Tinyman and artist Mikhail Janin, which is interesting. And it's to be continued in Talon. So I figured I'd just read that some other time when I have some spare time on my hands. I was a little annoyed by that, but the rest of it is very meaty. All applies to Detective Comics' current continuity. We have the main 22-page story drawn by Jason Fabok, which is brilliantly executed, I felt. It's amazing that Fabok does the pencils and inks every month on, I think, 22 pages of story. So much more than a lot of other artists seem able to do. And so that was a really good story. You could read just this story. I mean, it connects up with the current continuity, but you could also read it as just an enjoyable sort of good old-fashioned Batman adventure, Batman fighting hundreds and hundreds of man-bats, innocent people who've been turned into man-bats. And then we get backup stories also written by John Layman, which connect up to the Man-Bat story. One gives you some of the background of, what was his name? The Kirk guy who invented the Man-Bat serum, and shows us his wife thinking back on their life, and then she makes an interesting, unusual choice at the end, so that was really cool. And then we had a story told from the point of view of one of the Emperor Penguin's henchmen, who I guess used to be the Penguin's henchman, what they were up to during this contagion of man-bats, and that's when you see that the Emperor Penguin had a larger plan for this whole man-bat escapade, more than just trying to get at Batman. And it's fun just seeing all these kind of minor, weird henchmen, and we get an advancement there of the plot of what's going on with the Emperor Penguin and what might be going on with the Penguin, who may be getting out, we'll see, to confuse the story. And it's interesting because we know all this background, but Batman, I don't think knows. I think he just, in this issue, learns the name Emperor Penguin. So we know a lot more than Batman knows at this point. So a lot's been going on behind his back, so to speak. And then we get another really interesting story drawn by an artist that I'm not familiar with, Jason Masters, which tells the story from the point of view of one of the people who gets turned into a man-bat, and it's a policeman who was one of the first people to arrive on the scene, and it gives us some inside look on the police point of view of Batman and of several other things, and I think establishes characters who will play a further role. So all in all, this is, just a really artfully done giant-size issue. I'm turning to Detective Comics now, and it's been very reliable since John Layman came on, as kind of my traditional gritty and fun Batman book. I mean, so it's funny to say it's fun because it is still very gritty and fairly violent, but it's just got that more old-fashioned Batman fights bad guys and solves crimes kind of feel to it, and I'm really enjoying it. This issue also has numerous pin-ups, all of which I enjoyed looking at. This is by Cameron Stewart and Dustin Nguyen. Don't know how to pronounce those kind of Korean names or whatever it is. There's a wonderful one by Francavilla. I'd love to see some more Francavilla Batman. Andy Clark. Andy Clark does an excellent job on one of these backup stories. I like his art more and more. Hope to see him do some full-blown Batman sometime soon. Let's see where... Anyway, I do have one, since this is the 900th issue, in a sense, of Detective Comics, the very first comic to ever carry Batman, kind of a seminal comic book in comic book history, right after Action Comics #1. It would have been nice if they could have rounded up some of the artists who are still alive who've worked on Batman over the years. Like, it would have been great to have some Neil Adams and Marshall Rogers and other people like that showing up here. That's really my only complaint. It was a really good issue, and I know they kind of try to rip us off with these events, but I did not feel ripped off paying $8 and getting 77 pages. I think that comes to a little more than 10 cents a page, a lot better sort of page rate than what we normally pay on comics. A $4 issue of Detective Comics usually has 28 pages of art and story. So if it had just had 56 pages, it would have been kind of a fair deal. But so they gave us a lot for our money. And I'll have to see later what I think of the Tinian story. It's Bane, so it's Batman, I guess, and the Court of the Owls and Talon, but I'm just not excited about that. Talk to you all later.